Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we have a really exciting topic. At least it's exciting depending on how you look at it. How to grow when your organic traffic is declining. And the reason we chose this topic here is at NP Digital, for a little bit more than 2 years now, we've seen a consistent theme of companies coming to us and saying, my organic traffic is declining. What do I do? And we've seen this firsthand. We've solved it firsthand. And there's a new way you need to look at things. But the big thing here that we want to get across, and you'll see it during the webinar, is you can still grow if your traffic is declining. When people say, my organic traffic's declining, my business is done, it's going to go to zero. That's not true. You can grow more even if your organic traffic is declining. Not only do I have case studies to back this up, we're going to actually show you how to do it as well. So a little about me. My name is Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. We're a global ad agency. We have Ryan with us, and he's the director of CRO at NP Digital. We have Elias with us as well, who's the associate director of paid search at NP Digital. Ryan, do you mind giving a quick introduction of yourself? And then once you're done, Elias, you can go right after.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here and chat a little bit about some conversion rate optimization tactics when traffic is declining. As Neil said, I'm the director of CRO and user experience, working on Neil's agencies, anywhere from SMB all the way up to enterprise. And as I said, just really excited to talk with you folks today. Elias?
All right, yeah, happy to introduce myself as well. I'm Elias. I'm an associate director of paid search here at NPD. I've got about a decade of experience working on paid media, primarily in paid search, and helping grow businesses and helping businesses reach their goals through paid media.
All right, so at NP Digital, many of you guys have seen this slide. If you guys join our webinars that we do roughly every other week, 1,000 plus people. We're in 28 countries. We have 75 plus awards, a lot of amazing brands that we work with, and a lot of amazing brands that we work with that many of you may not know, such as in our SMB team. And today, when we break down what's working and how to grow when your traffic's declining, keep in mind, not some of our clients or some of our customers come to us with this. Majority of our customers are coming to us with our traffic is declining. We need you to help us grow. And there are solutions, and we're going to break them down. But before we dive into the solutions, if you just want us to do it for you and fix these issues and help you grow when your traffic's declining, you can take out your phone, scan that QR code, right, with your camera. It'll take you to the NP Digital website. You can fill out your information, and someone from our team will be in touch. It doesn't matter what size of business you are. It doesn't matter what country you're in. We work globally with all business sizes, and we would love to help you. And if you just want to do it yourself, no worries, because we're going to break down how to do that as well during this webinar. So the first, what we're seeing, and it's not just with B2B, B2B and B2C, we're typically seeing traffic loss. And it's in the double-digit percentile for both on an annual basis. Now, that percentage of traffic declining is slowing down. Publishers are down much more than just general websites, but we are seeing traffic go down. But here's a caveat, and it's highlighted here with the big BUT, but conversions are often stable or growing. Because what's happening in this environment right now, when traffic's declining, a lot of it is for informational search queries that would never drive a conversion. So what you're finding is people are doing their research off platform, like on ChatGPT or Perplexity or Google's AI mode. Then when they go to the website, they're much more likely to convert because they know what they're looking for. To put it in perspective, the way it used to work, you would do a search on Google. You would see 10 blue links. You would click on many of those 10 blue links and do your research. Once you figure out what you want to do, you would then go back to that website that has a product or service that you're looking for and then go and convert in many cases. Now you're doing your research on platform. Google AI Overviews is summarizing, Gemini summarizing, ChatGPT summarizing, Perplexity summarizing. So you don't actually have to go to the website to figure out the basic information. But when you do go to the website, your intent is much stronger because you've already done your research. And in many cases, you've made up your mind before you actually go to a website. The new reality of organic traffic is it's changing. You don't need to optimize for as much traffic. You need to optimize for quality traffic, and you need to optimize for citations. So rankings and traffic no longer move together. We're seeing companies improve their rankings, but their organic traffic is going down. And a lot of this has to do with things like the Get AI overviews are pulling in the answers, so people don't necessarily need to click at all. Because, Google hasn't made this change, or let me rephrase it. This change that Google made with the AI overviews isn't the first of its type. We were talking, Ryan, Elias, and I were talking before we started this webinar, and we were talking about the weather in our prospective cities. It used to be where you would type in, I'm in Los Angeles, you would type in Los Angeles weather, you would click on weather.com, and you'd go figure out the weather. Now, I can just go to Google and type in Los Angeles weather, and it would just show me the weather, and I don't need to click on any website. And you guys have all looked up the weather. And I bet almost all of you never click on a website, and you just get the weather results right then and there. Google's made these changes with a lot of things, from that weather to currency exchange. You can type in USD to a euro, and you'll just get the currency exchange rate in today's world. You can just type into Google things like 2 + 2, and it'll tell you it's 4, right? They're doing the same thing, summarizing a lot of basic stuff. So you no longer need to go to these websites, and that traffic wasn't converting in the first place. And if you believe that with traffic decline, you can't grow, one really popular example that everyone was talking about on the internet, I believe this was 12 plus months ago, actually maybe a little bit more, was HubSpot. Their organic traffic declined roughly 70 to 80% from peak levels. Yet, if you looked at HubSpot's latest earnings, okay, they just had them last week, I believe, they not only increase their forecast for 2026, meaning they're saying, hey, we're going to actually do more revenue than what the analysts are estimating. Secondly, their growth rate has been increasing. So they're growing at a faster clip than they were before. As a quick disclaimer, I do own HubSpot stock. So, but these are just the stats and data here. I'm not trying to tell you to go invest in the company or anything like that. But hopefully that chart shows you with fewer clicks, you can still generate more revenue and grow. Now, when you decouple traffic and business outcomes, a lot of people looked at the old way of, I get high rankings, get more traffic, I get conversions. In today's world, you can have great rankings, great impressions, people seeing your brand in the AI overviews, people seeing your brand on ChatGPT, but not necessarily clicking. Your traffic goes down because they're doing the research on these platforms, but your conversions are stable. And in many cases, you can actually get them to grow, which means more revenue. When we think about traditional SEO, the metrics, for traditional SEO that are causing people to lose traffic are things like AI overviews, algorithm updates, but the big one that we see by far is AI overviews. It's not because they're putting tons of images. It's not because they're putting videos in the search results. Google does roughly 9 to 10 algorithm updates per day. They've always been doing that. The biggest cause is what we're seeing is AI overviews and people researching within platform. But Google's popularity is growing. They went from 8.5 billion daily searches, which was the number that they put out a while ago, to their most recent numbers, to 13.7 billion daily searches. They get roughly 5 trillion searches a year, right? So even with no clicks and things like that, they're still growing in popularity, which is driving more traffic to businesses. And when I say traffic, not necessarily total volume, but the right type of traffic that is converting. So now let's talk about redefining, going from clicks to influence, because that's where things are really heading with AI, and they have been heading there for more than a year. So the metrics that matter now aren't things like organic sessions or page views or raw impression counts or click-through rates. It's things like conversion rate. What's your conversion rate from organic to paid? How many mentions are you getting in AI overviews? And how many mentions are you getting in LLMs like ChatGPT? What's the sentiment of these mentions? Are they positive? Are they negative? What's your revenue per visitor? Is your overall brand search volume growing? You can see this through things like Google Trends, where you can type in your brand name and you can see if it's growing or declining or flat. And these are really important metrics. You can actually track some of them in Ubersuggest for free. Like, it can show you how you rank up against your competitors in things like Gemini and Google AI overviews, as well as ChatGPT and the sentiment and how you're doing versus the competition. And you can do a lot of that for free using Ubersuggest as well. Impressions versus citations. A lot of people focus on impressions. Impressions are not where it's at. You want to make sure your brand gets cited as often as possible. This drives a lot more revenue than anything else. You know, in marketing, over all the years I've been doing this, I've been doing it for 24 years now. People talk about how the best converting channels are email and text message. Okay. I get you need to drive traffic to collect emails and collect phone numbers for SMS, but still people say they're the highest converting channels out there. We see LLM traffic like ChatGPT converting higher than anything else that we've ever seen. Not by, 5, 10%, by multiples. In other words, by 2, 3x. It's massive. You don't need tons of volume. You just need the right people, and they're very heavy intent based. And the way you get into these places is through visibility. You get it by doing digital PR, getting a lot of positive reviews, getting mentioned out there, doing press, right? Launching new products, services, doing campaigns. It all helps. And you can figure out how you're doing visibility wise by just going to ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini and just type in some queries like your brand, see what they say. You can also track by using UTMs. Not my favorite approach, but some people like doing it. I hate doing it by UTMs. You can look at your brand search, which you should, through things like Google Trends. And then you can track how you're being mentioned in the sentiment versus the competition. And you can do a lot of this for free on tools like Ubersuggest. And before we dive into some tactics, I just wanted to go over a few case studies to show you that you can grow even if organic traffic's declining. Here's one from RefiJet. We ended up focusing on entity-based SEO, and we combined their unique data with authoritative references, so AI systems were more likely to cite them versus the competition. Funded loans from organic discovery increased 178%. Here's another one from Zag, and I'm going to give companies of all sizes, some you've never heard of, some you have heard of. That way you know that it's possible to grow no matter what size organization you are. Another way to grow is through paid search, right? And we started using a strategy to maximize for the ROAS and enhance conversions to optimize for value. We started leveraging things like Performance Max, tightly structured shopping campaigns to capture more profitable placements. In essence, we delivered a 28% lift in revenue with improved efficiency and lower cost per conversion. And that's the key. It's not just about revenue growth. It's about doing it in a profitable way, like I mentioned with Zach. And here's a brand everyone knows of, Levi's, right? They have jeans. We've been using their jeans for ages. We leverage Meta Advantage Plus shopping to let AI systematically optimize for audience bids and placements. We focus on scalable automation and conversion signal feedback loops to boost efficiency. In essence, we were able to drive a 1.8x5 year-over-year ROAS, and we improved ad deliverability without increasing spend, which is huge, right? It's all about growing results without having to spend more. And that's possible. Everyone's like, ad costs are keep rising. You have to spend a lot more. No, here's an example of how we were able to drive more without spending more. So how LLM visibility shows up in revenue? Well, what you're seeing with your organic traffic in many cases is declines, but we're seeing total revenue actually increase, especially if you're doing well within these AI tools. Their visitors are extremely high intent, more than what we've seen ever before. This is why we focus so much on digital PR at NP Digital. It's one of our biggest divisions internally. It's not a common phrase that most marketers know about or talk about, but this is what's getting our clients mentioned a lot in the LLMs and in AI overviews and within Gemini as well. So ChatGPT, Gemini, AI overviews, Perplexity, Claude, you name it, it's all working. And the revenue impact we're seeing from AI, we know a lot of marketers like AI is changing marketing drastically. We're screwed. We're still seeing today the biggest ROI companies are getting from marketing is traffic from the LLMs. It beats out, hey, let me use this cool AI tool to do this visual creative. We're still seeing AI citations or citations from LLMs drive more revenue in this new AI world than anything else, more than any tool, more than any cool technology, more than cloud marketing, more than OpenClaw. We're seeing the LLMs, when you get cited there, which is why we focus so much on this at NP Digital, driving more revenue than anything else in this AI world.
Okay, conversion rate optimization. As it says there, this is about making every visitor count. So when we see traffic start to plateau, we see traffic start to decline, most teams are going to instinctively try to drive more volume. Real growth lever here, though, isn't always traffic, it's conversion rate. So over the next few slides, I'm going to discuss how CRO can be a critical growth lever for your business. So across industries, average conversion rates sit between 2 and 5%. Obviously, that depends on what industry and what your product is. But if you're at 2% and you move to 3%, right there, that's a 50% lift in conversions, and you didn't spend a single dollar extra on traffic. No new channels, no higher media costs, just better performance from what you already have. A lot of times, this growth is very feasible too. A quick example, if you were to take 10 optimizations, let's say you got 10 winning tests. These winners averaged a conservative, let's say 2% incremental lift. That's 25% growth right there. And why is that? Because compounding comes into effect. And each optimization builds off of the other, and it starts to drive these extraordinary gains. This isn't theoretical, though. Companies that prioritize CRO see up to 1.6 times revenue growth. Because when traffic becomes more expensive, it becomes less predictable, efficiency becomes the advantage. So you can see here on the chart, when traffic declines, the winning metrics aren't volume-based. They're conversion rate, it's revenue per session, it's lead quality, it's assisted conversions, lifetime value. These are the metrics that are going to compound for you. You can see that growth increasingly comes from doing more with the visitors that you have already. So today we'll talk about how to systematically unlock that efficiency and turn conversion rate into your primary growth lever. Once you shift your focus to conversion efficiency, the next evolution is personalization. What we're seeing in high-performing teams is a move away from static, these one-size-fits-all magic bullet experiences. Instead, they're building journeys around behavior. What channel did someone come from? What pages are they engaging with? What are they skipping? The data is shaping this experience in real time. Content and offers are no longer fixed. They adapt based on how users arrive, what they view, what they ignore. And more AI-driven recommendations are replacing rigid funnels and adaptive journeys that respond dynamically to the visitor's intent. So why does this all matter? Well, because the companies that execute personalization well, they're driving up to 40% more revenue. That lift doesn't come from more traffic again. It comes from more relevance per visit. So traffic gets harder and more expensive to acquire. Personalization becomes a performance strategy. It's not just a customer experience initiative. So today, almost 85% of Facebook users are mobile only. I think the other 15% are probably just my dad and his friends on their desktops in front of the TV. But that's
and me. I actually still use Facebook
and Neil,
not my mobile device.
And Neil, my dad and Neil. That makes the 15%. But it fundamentally changes how discovery, consideration, and conversion happen, right? So most paid social organic journeys, they move through mobile before purchase ever happens. Here's the issue, though. Many brands are still optimizing desktop experience and trying to shrink these down to fit a smaller screen. So that's not the same as building for mobile intent. When brands focus solely on their mobile experience and intentionally rebuild funnels for mobile and app environments, lift can be dramatic. App users view more products, they add to cart more, and they convert at higher rates. So the environment certainly matters. Native, streamlined, intent-driven experiences are going to outperform browser-based ones. Friction that might be tolerable on desktop could kill conversion on mobile. If you have extra fields on your forms, you have slow load times on your pages, cluttered layouts, weak calls to actions, just unclear value in general, on a small screen, everything is going to be amplified as far as friction goes. So if mobile is your primary environment, you get most of your traffic through mobile, it deserves primary optimization consideration. This shift alone can help you to unlock significant conversion gains. So let's talk about using AI in chat to support conversions. So as journeys get shorter and attention spans shrink, the window to influence a decision is also getting smaller. So this is where AI and chat are becoming powerful conversion tools. By 2027, 25% of organizations are expected to use AI as their primary service channel. That means support is moving closer to that decision point. It's not sitting somewhere separately in a help center, a few levels off of that decision-making point. However, AI-assisted chat is not just about answering questions. It helps recover conversions from compressed funnels. So when someone hesitates, they compare options, or they have a last-minute objection they're thinking of, AI can step in instantly with relevant guidance. That's why brands are seeing conversion lifts on almost 30% when AI is integrated directly into the journey. The biggest impact comes from guiding in the moment decisions, right? Not after someone leaves, not in a follow-up email, right then and there while the intent is high. We're not talking about replacing humans either. It's about removing friction, resolving doubt, and supporting intent when it matters most. So when we look at improving conversion rates, a lot of it comes down to psychology. Many brands optimize for elements on the page, which works, but you should first understand the psychology behind people make decisions and design optimizations and tests to address this. High-performing landing pages do a few things exceptionally well. First, they communicate a clear value proposition right above the fold. It's not buried somewhere deep on the page where majority of visitors may not see it. Within seconds, a visitor should understand what you do, who it's for, what they can do on the page, and why it matters. If that's unclear, you're creating friction almost immediately. Second, the call to action is benefit-driven. Submit does not motivate anyone. Maybe a small niche industry, it may, but get my free demo or start my free trial. These are calls to actions that help to reinforce the outcome. The button should reflect value, not just the action you want them to take. Third, social proof reduces risk. Everyone wants to know, is this trustworthy? What are other people saying about it? So testimonials, reviews, user counts, recognizable brand logos, these are all good things. These signals answer the silent question every visitor has. Can I trust this site? Can I trust this brand? So when you combine clarity, you bring benefit-focused language and strong trust signals. You're not just designing a page, you're guiding a decision. This is really where conversion lift happens. So I want to give you a few kind of quick wins here. If you walk away, you do nothing else, here are some very kind of simple, tried and true CRO wins you can implement this week. So first off, A/B test. It sounds simple, but A/B test your CTA messaging, not just the design. Ensure you're orienting visitors, providing value in your copy, leading up to the call to action. And as we just discussed, most brands default to generic action like that submit button or learn more. That language reflects what you want the user to do. It does not reinforce what they get. So instead, test outcome-driven messaging. Get my free plan, start my trial, see my custom report, whatever it might be. When the call to action reflects value and not action, it aligns much better with intent. Secondly, add urgency elements, limited time offers, countdown timers, stock counters. When these are used authentically, urgency reduces hesitation and increases action. Third, reduce form fields. Every additional field creates friction, right? As a rule of thumb, removing just a single unnecessary field can drive around a 10% lift. So ask only for what you truly need. If you don't need someone's date of birth or phone number, whatever it might be, don't ask for it. Keep forms simple. If you need to create the appearance of a simpler form, sometimes you could break the form up to be a progressive form. but we want to keep it simple, and we only want to ask for what's needed for your team. Finally, use exit intent pop-ups for that email capture. Think of this as, a Hail Mary pass. Is someone about to leave your site? That is the last opportunity to provide value, keep the relationships going. These work well, when they're less intrusive than interrupting visitors the minute they land on the page. So the good news is none of these things require a full site redesign. They're fast, they're testable, they're measurable. Quick wins build momentum. Momentum builds a culture of optimization, and a culture of optimization is a powerful tool for your business. Always be testing, we say.
And one thing to know, when Ryan's talking about the exit intent, a lot of people have issues with them. They're just like, this is spammy. They work really well. Don't look at them as spammy. The reason most of them are spammy because the offers suck. If your exit intent offer is really good, where it's providing value to people, it's a disservice not to show them the offer. And you'll find that your conversion rates skyrocket from the exit intent, and people love it because you actually gave them something of value. So the key is, what are you going to give them that's so valuable? They're like, wow, I'm happy that I saw this exit intent. That's how you need to think about it. If you're like, oh, I'm putting an exit intent and I'm going to give this crap offer, of course people are going to be upset, and of course it's going to look spammy. So you need to first think about, what can you offer that's going to make people being like, wow, I love this offer.
Exactly. Thanks, Neil. All right, let's get tactical now. Let's talk about a little bit of on-platform. This shift to on-platform conversion, it's not theoretical. It's already happening at scale, especially on TikTok and Instagram. For years, social drove awareness, pushed traffic back to the websites. That model is certainly changing. Today, platforms are building native checkout. They have automated DMs. They have live shopping. They have in-app purchase flows. And if we keep forcing users off platform, this will introduce friction. Visitors are going to lose momentum. The brands winning right now are shortening this path from content to checkout right inside the feed. So let's take a look at how this works on Instagram, how TikTok's accelerating native commerce, and then we're going to break down a practical playbook by platform. So this is one of the big shifts. It's the biggest one, I think, happening in digital right now. For years, social drove awareness. It was top of funnel. The goal is to get people to click and push them back to your website. The model's changing. Social is no longer just influence purchasing. It's completing them. Social commerce surpassed $87 billion in 2025. It's expected to cross $100 billion in 2026. I'll do my best Austin Powers impression. TikTok Shop alone already represents a meaningful share of US social commerce. It's still growing rapidly. Sales growth numbers are not incremental, they're explosive. And you can see by 2028, the majority of US online shoppers are expected to purchase directly through social platforms. That's huge. The takeaway is simple. Stop forcing customers to your website if the platform already has intent, if it already has trust, and native checkout built in. Convert them where they already are. So let's start with one of the simplest and most effective on-platform tactics, Instagram comment to convert. So here's how it works. A user comments a specific keyword on a post. That triggers an automated DM that delivers a link, an offer, a product page, or a form directly inside Instagram. Why is this powerful? Well, first, comments increase in feed reach, right? So the post performs better algorithmically. Second, DMs often see 80% or higher open rates, which is significantly higher than an email or paid traffic. This approach works especially well for lead magnets, right? Product drops or limited time offers, event signups, it works really well with these. Anything where intent is high and speed matters. And it's not hard, it's not complex to implement. Tools like ManyChat, ChatFuel, Instagram's native automation, they make it accessible for most teams. The key idea is this though, instead of asking someone to click out of the platform, let the conversation start right let the conversion start right inside the conversation. TikTok Shop and native commerce. So TikTok has taken native commerce even further with TikTok Shop. What's working right now is live shopping, shoppable video, and cultural momentum. We're seeing creators generate 7 figures in a single live stream. That's nuts. Brands are reporting conversion rates in the 20% range during live shopping events. That's performance that most e-commerce sites would love to see. 20% conversion rate, amazing. And shoppable video removes friction, right? The user watches content you can purchase without ever leaving the app. No redirects, no extra steps, no additional friction. Then there's the cultural proof piece. Trends like TikTok made me buy it. They are not just entertainment. They are direct purchase drivers at scale. The key principle here is authenticity, right? Creator-led content consistently outperforms polished brand ads. On TikTok, content that feels native converts better than content that feels produced. If Instagram comment to convert is about conversion, then TikTok shop is about collapsing inspiration and checkout into the same moment. All right, so let's talk about platform-specific playbook. The key takeaway is that each platform converts differently. So TikTok is built for impulse and awareness-driven purchases. Native checkout through shoppable video and live stream works best. Creator-led content wins. Instagram is strong for credibility and mid-funnel action. Conversions often happen through comments to DMs that we talked about, to links or forms, and they're powered by social proof and automation. WhatsApp is ideal for high consideration in B2B. It converts through direct conversations, fast responses, and personalized support. YouTube supports education and validation. So tutorials, long-form content, these are driving search-based intent and deeper persuasion. The biggest mistake, though, is using one funnel everywhere. The opportunity is really adapting your strategy to how each one of these platforms naturally converts.
All right. On that note, let's talk about paid ads. Paid media is an interesting landscape. It's changing faster than ever. I'm going to go through a bit of what's going on and then show you some techniques that are working to drive business performance right now. So across the paid media landscape, costs are increasing in every platform. Google cost per click is up 45% year on year, LinkedIn 147%, and the average Facebook ROAS is down to 2.19. And yet, paid media is still one of the primary tools businesses have to drive incremental growth when their organic traffic is declining. So let's start with Google Ads. AI Max for search campaigns launched last year. And what we've seen when implementing it is on average about a 14% lift in conversions without having too much impact to CPA or ROAS. Campaigns that haven't fully expanded into broad match, if you're still relying on your phrase and exact match, you can see even larger impact, 27% uplift. And again, this is about finding the best user intent, regardless of exact terms that people are searching. You can find more users searching for things that are relevant and provide them with the message that tells them what they need to know and brings them onto your site into your conversion flow with a very high conversion rate compared to traditional search campaigns. Performance Max is another tool available in Google Ads that advertisers have had some issues with in the past. A lot of advertisers have seen these issues with Performance Max not driving the same kind of performance that they would see in their search campaigns or in other campaigns. Most of these problems can be solved with smart setup. So that means using brand exclusions and negative keywords to keep PMax campaigns separate from your top performing search campaigns. That way, both search and PMax can do what they do best. It's also really important to look through the placement reports and exclude low quality inventory within PMax. Once that's done, PMax can deliver really strong 125% ROAS without having any overlap or cannibalization with your best search campaigns. Another great tool available in Google Ads is portfolio-based bidding. So you set a maximum cost per click bid and target cost per acquisition at a portfolio level. And then you're able to scale Google Ads campaigns in a much more predictable way and make sure that as you increase your spend, as you increase your volume, you're not spending too much per click. And your acquisition remains at a level that you're looking for. As Neil mentioned earlier, AI overviews are becoming more and more common. It's important to remember that ads often serve above the AI overview. So for queries that are more informational, more likely to trigger an AI overview, the top placement on that search is even more valuable than it was before. Moving into Meta. For Meta ads, if you're looking for growth, consider breaking out campaigns based on what kind of value they're going to bring in. So first, you have your prospecting campaigns. These are generally going to be using broad targeting and have a variety of creatives within the campaign to align with the wide variety of potential consumers that are going to be in that audience. Since retargeting audiences like site visitors and cart abandoners drive 4.3 times higher return on ad spend than prospecting, it makes sense to break out a separate campaign so you can set goals accordingly. And then finally, you have your retention campaign. This helps stay top of mind for your existing customers. It's laser focused on the highest value audiences you have. So you'll be willing to spend a little bit more per click on these audiences. Here are some of the most up-to-date benchmarks we have for retargeting. In general retargeting, we're looking at 4.5 to 5x ROAS. Compare that to cold traffic, 2x, and warm audiences around 3x. And then for cart abandoners specifically, you can expect around 4.3 times higher ROAS than with prospecting. For Meta, like we mentioned in one of the case studies earlier, Advantage Plus shopping campaigns are a great opportunity. They drive 32% better ROAS than manual campaigns. And this is just like we see with Google with the AI Max. When you leverage the power of the platform and the AI that they have there and all of the data going into it, you're able to find customers much more efficiently than when you guess and make manual changes after the fact. And then video, especially short form vertical video, because again, like Ryan said, Meta is a mobile first platform. This short form vertical video is consistently the most effective creative on Meta, and video ads drive 31% better ROAS than image only campaigns. Tracking, it's becoming harder, right? So ever since iOS 14, third-party tracking has become just unreliable at scale. So in order to maintain tracking, teams that do it right use Meta Pixel and Conversions API. And then they also feed first-party conversion data from their CRM and offline conversion data back into the platform so that the platform can use that to improve audience matching and optimize campaigns. Now let's talk about creative fatigue. It really can set in fast, and it depends on platform as well. But especially in social platforms like Meta and TikTok, creative fatigue sets in very quickly. The best way to manage it is to refresh your creative every week or two and to continuously test creative and leverage user-generated content as much as possible. Like was mentioned earlier as well, the user-generated content is platform native. It feels like it should be in the feed, and it often outperforms your more polished ads. Each of these platforms has a role to play in a growth strategy. So your social platforms, Facebook and TikTok, they create the demand. And then Google is what pulls that demand in and captures it. Adding in retargeting audiences can turn reach from one platform into efficiency in another. So by using paid search and social together, advertisers unlock higher conversion rate, lower cost per acquisition, and overall much more predictable scaling and efficiency than if they were just using one platform. So we just went through a bunch of different tips and tricks, but I know the question a lot of you will be asking is, how do you prioritize and structure this into an implementation plan? In just 30 days, 1 month, it's very possible to go from declining traffic and stalling business results to measurable growth. It starts with analysis. Then you find the quick wins, you start to scale, and finally, you make sure you measure your results and iterate on what works.
And if you want us to help you with the audit and the assessment, you can just go to npdigital.com, fill out your information, and we'll be in touch with you.
Absolutely. And what the kinds of things that we do and the kinds of things that you can do as well, if you have the manpower available, is first, start with your initial audit in the first week and now analyze what's been going on. That will reveal your baseline AI visibility. It'll show you the conversion rates across channels and opportunities for improvement in your paid ad accounts. And then in the second week, you can look for these quick wins, implementing those CRO improvements that Ryan talked about. If you just implement 3 of those on the highest traffic pages, and you set up some retargeting campaigns in Google and Meta, and then maybe you launch comment to DM automation on Instagram, that can have a massive impact just doing those few things. In week 3, it's time to scale. Testing into Google AI Max or Performance Max, TikTok Shop or Instagram Shopping, and optimizing your content for featured snippets and AI citations. These things all open up new avenues for incremental growth. Finally, measurement is key. When you compare your performance against baseline, look at the metrics that really matter. This is just like Neil said earlier. We're not looking at traffic. Look at what matters to your business. That's revenue and influence, not traffic. And double down on whatever tactics are really driving these business goals.
All right, so now let's talk about 2026 and some key takeaways for you, and then we'll dive into Q&A. So I want you to remember these 5 things. If your traffic is down, it doesn't mean your business has to decline. HubSpot lost 70% of their organic traffic, but revenues grew 22%. Conversions is more important than clicks. A 1% conversion lift beats a 10% traffic improvement. If you went from 2% conversion rate to 3%, that 1% lift, that's 50% more sales. And that's very possible because most businesses, for some reason, don't care about conversion optimization. It doesn't matter what size, small to big. They care about it, but they don't actually spend much money on it or time on it. And it's one of the biggest drivers. And anytime I send emails about conversion optimization or talk about it, it's an unsexy topic and most people don't care to read about it, but yet it drives a ton of revenue. Next, you want to meet customers where they are. So for example, if you're in the commerce game and you have products to sell, don't push people on Instagram and TikTok to go to your website. Let them buy natively on TikTok and Instagram. Who cares where you're getting the sales from? Sales are sales. You also want to retarget. It's one of your best secret weapons. You get a 4 to 5x ROAS when you're leveraging retargeting versus only just focusing on cold traffic all the time. A lot of campaigns that we like running is we'll run ads to cold traffic, warm them up. The ads are educational, and then we'll remarket to all those people and then pitch them an offer after they get to know us for a while. We find that actually cheaper than just driving traffic to a pitch, at least for us in our space in B2B. But you can try that out for B2B, B2C. We've seen it work in both areas as well. You want to diversify. If you focus on one marketing channel, you have too much risk. This is why we've been pushing omni-channel marketing for a long time. And to clarify here, not multi-channel. Multi-channel is I'm using TikTok, I'm using Instagram, I'm going after Google, I'm going after ChatGPT. That's multi-channel. I'm pushing omni-channel. Yes, you're using TikTok and Instagram and ChatGPT and Google, but you're taking the learnings from all of them to improve each of them. And you're focusing on targeted campaigns and using them off of each other to actually produce better compounding results. Because we've seen campaigns where you run them on not just parallel on TikTok and Instagram, but together. And when you doing things together more harmonious, you actually see better compounding results than if you did quote unquote multi-channel. What separates the winners and losers is the companies that win aren't the ones with the most traffic. They're the ones who convert the best across any channel. When you can start doing that, that is when you can win because you'll be able to scale faster than anyone else. If you want us to work, if you want us to just do everything for you, you want to work with us, or you just want to talk with us, take your phone, scan the QR code. It'll take you to npdigital.com. My initials, Neil Patel, right? or you can just go to npdigital.com, fill out your information, and go from there. All right, let's dive into some questions, Colin.
Getting more with less, right? Like that's what it's all about. Great stuff, you guys. Tons of questions across the platforms. Let's start with you, Neil. We've heard this one before, I think, but I'm gonna ask it again. With this recent decline in traffic to our website, what are your thoughts on the importance of email marketing? Is email marketing sort of like where it's at? We tend to promote, and then there was a follow-up question. We tend to promote our website in our emails with all this talk about in-platform and social. Curious to get your thoughts on if we should be pushing people to our website in these emails, or should we be pushing them to our social spaces in our emails? So a lot of interest around emails with everything that's going on with LLMs and AI overviews. And then where should we be pushing people to?
Emails are still extremely valuable. You want to collect them. At the same time, collect text messages. So, phone numbers for whatever countries and laws that make it easy for you to message people. So collect them. We still see them as high converting channels. We see LLMs first, then text message, then emails when you look at the top 3 conversion channels in that order. Where should you drive the email traffic? It depends what you're selling. You can give them options. You can drive them to your website, but you can also push them to Instagram and TikTok if you think your conversion rates are higher there, whatever data they do share with you. And you can run a test, an A/B test, and see what drives more revenue. And that'll start giving you a better understanding of where to send people. We don't have an end-all be-all that we have to send people to our website. Sometimes we email and send people out to our tools, which is kind of a version of our website. Sometimes we send people to our social handles directly. I've linked out just directly to LinkedIn as well. There's nothing wrong with one approach over another. You just got to fine-tune and look at the data and see what converts better. But once you see the data, don't assume that it's always going to work like that 2-3 years down the road. Platforms change. Conversion rates change. You need to continually test and tweak over time.
Awesome. And while we have you, Neil, there was, I think it was you in the upfront, one of the things to sort of stop maybe focusing on or obsessing over was rank. And then one of the things that we should maybe consider is just measuring the impact of brand or the interest in brand. I mean, yes, there's Google Trends that can do that to kind of see what the interest in brand might be. Are there any other tools that you can think of, or is that something that we should just be setting up in GA to see how our brand is sort of increasing?
So Search Console gives you data on AI overviews and how your brand's being mentioned. That's one. Google Trends is another, which I already mentioned. The third one is Uber Suggests. You can look at our LLM trackers, and it'll break down how often you're being cited versus the competition and the sentiment. Is it better for you versus the competition or worse? And this will give you ideas of where you need to improve. A lot of this stuff on the brand end is impacted by digital PR, and it's a pain in the butt to do. It's one of our biggest departments. It's one of the aspects of marketing that I hate the most because it is the hardest to do. And that's what drives a lot of this LLM traffic and brand increasing. But in essence, you're trying to convince other people to mention you. It's really painful to do.
There was a question about DPR, digital PR. So is digital PR like the new link building, or what exactly is digital PR?
It is a new link building. Yes, you can still get links. You can still get citations and brand mentions and all that kind of stuff from digital PR. It is a pain in the butt. It is competitive. It is hard to do, and most people don't want to mention you, and you don't want to go the route of just spending money and paying people to mention you because, it's frowned upon, and it can create more long-term negative effects.
Awesome. So Ryan, over to you. Lots of, and some really good stuff. So Ryan, a lot of great information, but one question, in your experience, what is the single tough one, trick question, what is the single most effective CRO tactic that we should try? We have tons of social proof in the form of customer quotes and feedback. Should we try swapping that stuff out or introduce it before we, make changes to CTAs and copy? And then there was a follow-up. How do we really need to A/B test that And then there were questions around how long we should be testing some of the things that you were talking about. Is it dependent upon how long or the duration that we should run the test, or simply just like the number of visits or users? So first question, if you could do one thing to improve the conversion rates of a website, what would it be? And then the second one is, how long should we be trying this out to prove it?
Yeah, so I do get this question a lot, and for me, it's value copy. I think that makes most effect. If you can clearly, concisely communicate your value, in the first or second content block, I think that's one of the most important things you can do. If someone comes to a site and they don't understand the value, they're not going to stick around on your page too long. If you can show them that value quickly in the hero section, second content block, get to them to engage more, then you can share more content throughout that page. So I would really try value copy, making sure you're differentiated from your competition. I've seen some really good success in testing that. Social proof too. I think you mentioned that too, Colin. That's something that, you can just do. People do believe in social proof. They don't want to leave your page. You don't want to let them leave your page to go kind of jump into some of the read testimonials and things like that. So if you can keep them on your page, keep them engaged and provide those testimonials, even if it's, showcasing if you have great reviews, let's say you have over 4.5 stars, something like that. You could just show that image as something like a post CTA in a hero section, and don't allow that to be a link that pulls them off the page, but jumps further down your page to a dedicated testimonial section where you can kind of be in charge of what testimonials you put there, and make sure those provide value too, right? And make sure those are differentiating your business from the competition. That's where I really kind of would say to start, and I've seen some really good success with. And then the other piece, Colin, was how long should we run these tests for, correct? It depends on your traffic, right? We try to always run tests to statistical significance. I usually use a 90% threshold. In the end, significance really comes down to a measure of risk. So if we run a test, we want to get that significance so that we can say, hey, if we implement this on our page, we're going to see similar results to this after that implementation. This is not due to just random chance and noise, right? You could take a coin and flip it 10 times and maybe you'll get tails 7 times. That's not realistically going to happen over time. If you continue to flip that coin, it's going to regress to the means, and you're going to see that at 50-50. So I would say that, run these tests to significance if you can. If there's businesses that don't have a ton of traffic, there's other ways to do this. It doesn't need to be the conversion. You can move it up funnel. You can look at how the clicks are going, how you move them through that funnel ultimately to that conversion. So that's the place I would essentially start.
Good stuff. So Elias, a couple for you. We have a limited budget for paid media, a decent mention and amount of PMAX talk. Is there a minimum recommendation, or does Google require a minimum budget to even run PMAX campaigns? Any sort of insight into that, I think would go a long way for the audience.
That's a great question that I do hear from clients that we work with pretty frequently. So there's not a specific minimum for PMAX in general, but you want to make sure that you're getting enough conversion volume for the algorithm to find out where your customers are and what placements and targeting works. So what's usually recommended is that you give it enough budget to get at least 3 conversions per day. And what that means varies depending on how much your cost per conversion is. You can start by using what your cost per conversion on search is as a baseline, and then think about 3 times a cost per conversion as a daily budget for a minimum for PMAX.
We also had for you, Elias, where was this one? Our entire website and social media pages are dedicated to educational videos. I'm wondering if there's a way to drive sales that wouldn't require them coming to our website to book. Do Meta and some of the other platforms have their own fields where you can sort of get people to book there, or what's the scoop?
Yes, absolutely. Meta has lead form ads. So do most of the other platforms as well. It's absolutely something that I would look into with that kind of model.
Awesome. And then while we have you, I think maybe we did not have a slide talking about LinkedIn ads. So what are your general thoughts on LinkedIn ads? We're a B2B shop and looking to test some budget there. We talked about Instagram and we talked Meta in general and TikTok. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a great opportunity for B2B specifically. It has very high conversion rates, and that's where your audience is a lot of the time. You're able to target based on exact job roles and companies. So it's definitely a good opportunity for B2B. I would just make sure that you're being thoughtful about your targeting because the costs have gone up significantly per click in recent years.
Yeah, we did see that stat, right? So last one for Ryan, and then Neil, you can close.
Well, really quick with B2B ads, we also find YouTube and X. YouTube is not a shocker for B2B. It works well. We also find X doing pretty well too, and pretty affordable because a lot of people don't want to advertise on X.
Can't forget about X. So
it has a ton of business people on X and executives and people who work in the corporate world.
Good feedback, good thoughts. Ryan, I never thought of this until I saw the question. I mean, the whole premise of this was traffic declining, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think all of the in-platform commerce that you spoke about and that Elias spoke about is maybe part of the reason why organic traffic is declining? I mean, yes, there's AI overviews and LLMs, but like for years now, I mean, Google's been trying to keep us on their page for the longest time, but now you have all these social platforms and their commerce sort of goals to keep everything within the platform. Like, do you think that that's a contributing factor to the loss in organic traffic to the website?
Yeah, I think for sure it's contributing to it. I'm not too worried about it though. I think websites are certainly going to still be around. A lot of this traffic, it could be just for learning a piece of information, right? I Google something, I look something up, GPT quickly, get that information, have some level of intent. Maybe I go back to the website eventually. I think that for higher consideration, purchases, if it's something not trivial and quick, you're going to need to get some more information. You're going to have a few more touch points. Maybe the journey might be a little bit longer. So certainly websites are still going to continue to play a very important piece in this industry here.
Everyone, thank you for joining. We really appreciate your time. We're out of time and we went a little bit over. I do appreciate you guys sticking around. If you ever need help with your marketing, check us out at npdigital.com. And if you're just ever have any questions or confused, you can reach out as well. We don't mind helping here and there as well. We appreciate you guys. Thanks.
We don't play. Check out this look on my face. 5-star cream of the crop. Gourmet spot. Gonna put the cherry on top. This one can't be stopped. Giving them shock. It's really like that. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just pulling up me and my friends. Big boy spins. Just might start up a trend. You don't wanna go up against. No offense. Might wanna check on your lens. This one can't be blocked. Give me my props. I'm really like that. Don't believe me, just watch. In the room, I am the truth. Do it now, boom. Heads turn when I walk in the room. All lies when I walk in the room. No lies when I walk in the room. I am the truth. Do it now, boom. Heads turn when I walk in the room. All lies when I walk in the room. Just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Watch.